Good evening, sports fans, and welcome once again to Montague High School for exciting West Michigan Conference action. Well, folks, this is it, the big night. Shelby Tigers traveling to Montague High School to take on the Montague Wildcats, where tonight it's very likely that the West Michigan Conference Championship will be decided. My name is Larry Lindquist, and with me in the booth tonight, Jeff Peterson. Jeff, what a night for basketball. Exciting things could be happening on court here tonight.
Well, you couldn't ask for anything better than this. This is what it's all about. If you can't get excited about a game like tonight, you can't get excited.
I guess you're right. The Wildcats come into the contest at 10-1. Excuse me, 10-1 in the league. They're a half game in front of the Shelby Tigers. But that's not by virtue of the fact that they've won more games. It's simply that Shelby has played one less game than we have. They're 9-1 in the conference because of the postponement last weekend at Whitehall. So we have exciting action. Let's look at the schedule for a minute here, Jeff. You and I were talking about that briefly a minute ago. The Wildcats, of course, played a tough team tonight, but the rest of the schedule seems to favor Montague versus the Shelby Tigers in terms of the conference championship.
Well, the Wildcats after tonight have, I believe, 2 conference games left. They've got North Muskegon at North Muskegon, and then they have to travel up to Scottsville for the last game of the season. And certainly any game is a big game when you're on top, but when you compare our opponents to the Tigers' opponents, they have to face Whitehall at Whitehall, and then they have to face Oak Ridge. I'm not sure where that game's going to be played. Plus, I believe one other game after that. And it certainly puts a lot of pressure on them, especially since they have to come here tonight. And I'm sure the Wildcats, after how they played up at Shelby, and I'm not taking anything away from the Tigers. They played an excellent game up there and did just a super job. But we did not play well up there, especially in the first half, and came away with a 1-point loss, our only blemish. So I'm sure the Wildcats are going to be aiming for this one tonight.
Well, we end up the season up at Mason County Central, as you said, but the Tigers have 3 consecutive road games this week against tough conference opponents. You mentioned us, of course, Whitehall, at Whitehall next Saturday night, and they also travel to Oak Ridge on Friday night. So they have back-to-back contests with league powers. Shelby Tigers' overall record is 12-3, so we know they're a good club, and they expect to do well, of course. But certainly in terms of what that means for a quad squad for the Whitehall, for the Montague Wildcats, I'll get it there. It's going to be in our favor.
Well, you know, if the Wildcats can play their ball game tonight and not let some of the big guns for the Shelby Tigers get off the block right to begin with, they're going to be sitting pretty at the top. They just have to play real tough down the stretch after that, and I'll tell you, all the pressure will come right back on Shelby.
Fans, we're expecting lots of good action tonight. We've said this almost every broadcast that we have lots of the league leaders on the court right here, and we certainly do. Tonight is no exception. The league leading rebounder in the person of Doug Schlaff, the league leading scorer in the person of Justin Grants from Shelby. In the assist department, Shelby has 3 players in the top 10. And of course, we have 3 of the top steal men in the league. So it's going to be an exciting contest. We're going to go right floor, and they're starting 5 and 2 seniors. The Wildcats, on the other hand, start 4 seniors and a junior. So the Tigers expect to do well again next year, of course, with that returning junior lineup. It's Tara Gray, member of Honors Choir, Stanton Street Singers, will be offering us her rendition of the national anthem this evening.
Bright star.
Here Gray with the national anthem, another in a long line of excellent tradition established at Montague High School for vocal introductions of the national anthem. Tonight we have two players, former players from Shelby, who are in the Far East, and our thoughts are especially with them, Tony DeRoy and Mike Strong. Now for the starting lineups, first for the Shelby Tigers, starting at one guard, number 20, Craig Alexander, a 5'10" senior. The other guard, number 22, Jason Kennedy, 5'11" junior. Jason Sullivan, number 25, 6'1" senior. Steve Highcoop, number 45, 6'2" junior. And Justin Grants, 55, 6'5", junior. And of course, the Tigers are coached by Mr. Rick Zulik, former player under Mr. Jim Tate. For the Wildcats, Eric Webb, number 30, senior. The other guard, number 20, Scott Lindquist, the junior on the starting five. Magnificent senior, 34, Doug Schlaff, with an excellent season thus far. Most improved, in my judgment at least, number 54, Matt Cotter at center. Ryan Anglum, tremendous asset to the Wildcats, number 32 at the other forward. And of course, Jim Tate, the coach of the Wildcats. You can feel the tension and the excitement, Jeff.
Well, as I said, if you can't get excited about a game like this, Larry, it's you can't get excited because the two talented ball teams out here, they match up pretty well with each other, and it should be an excellent ball game. The Wildcats, I think the key, have to stop Grants inside, which they did a pretty good job in the first game, but they can't let Alexander roam free like they did in the first game. And he's just an excellent ball handler, got great quickness, and he matches up with some of our guys with the quickness, which has been a real key for our success this year.
Absolutely correct.
Inside, we have to make sure we dominate the boards, only give them that one shot, and I'm sure Rick Zulik's told his team the same thing.
Well, yes, he's told us that too, Jeff. One of the keys he feels to the contest is keeping Doug Schlaff off the boards and off the free throw line as well. The Wildcats gain the first possession. Anglum looking inside to Schlaff. Schlaff against Grants. Up. No good. Over the top of the rim that time. And Highcoop comes down with the rebound.
You know, Larry, there's another gentleman I think we really have to watch is Highcoop. You know, doesn't get a lot of press, doesn't get a lot of notice in their offensive scheme of things, but just makes a lot of little things happen, gets a lot of key rebounds, and really a valuable player.
And there he is now, driving the baseline on the right-hand side.
Yeah, a little traveling.
And has a travel call on him. Highcoop was relatively quiet against us at Shelby, Jeff. He got a little foul trouble. I think he had 3 fouls in the first half, and as a result, perhaps limited his effectiveness a little bit, but he is a dangerous threat out there.
Right.
Eric Webb driving left, popping back out is Scott Lindquist. Inside it goes to Schlaff. Nice fake and move, but the ball won't drop for him.
Well, you can see right now we're going right to Doug Schlaff. They don't think that Grants can handle him, and so far Doug's had the shots, just haven't been able to get him to drop.
That's right. Doug, we know, is shooting a magnificent, just almost unbelievable, 55% almost on the year from the floor. Highcoop with a nice inside move that time with a cross-the-lane pass and draws the personal on Doug's shot.
Larry, you're always going to get that Highcoop jumped right into Matt Cotter as Matt Cotter was stationed there, but having the ball and going up the basket, you're going to get that call probably 99 times out of 100. But again, just as I said, a smart ball player. Somebody you really think maybe you don't have to watch too much as he drills the first one and gives Shelby that early 1-0 lead.
Highcoop shooting 73% from the line on the season. And tonight, so far, he's shooting 100%. So, Tigers take the lead. 2 points, Jeff, the difference in the contest at Shelby. 65-63, I think it was, wasn't it? Something like that.
Both teams are certainly going to be really sky high for this one. As Eric Webb drives and drills in, it's all tied back up.
Nice move by Eric along the baseline. Same kind of move as Highcoop made, actually. A nice baseline move. Grants returns the favor for Shelby. Pulls them back into a 2-point lead.
And Shelby attacked that exactly right. Took advantage and took it right to the hole. Didn't wait to get set up.
Anglum looking inside to Cotter. Spin through the paint.
Nice
Good
move
by Matt Cotter. Excellent move. We've seen him do that time after time this year, Jeff.
Well, I'll tell you, Matt Cotter is one of the most improved players I've seen around here in a long, long time. He just amazes me in what he does out there. Super ball player, super team player.
Inside it goes again to Grant, up and good. Shelby up by 2, 6-4. Wildcats running the stack offense. Interesting to note, Jim Tate, the coach of the Wildcats, mentioned last time we were on the air that everybody knows what they're going to do. It's a matter of execution. Surely enough, that's exactly what we see there tonight.
Well, you know, it doesn't matter what you do. After you've done it the first time, people have an idea what's going to happen the next time. And again, just as Jim said, it's the execution of what you do. If you're going to execute it right, you're going to be able to score. You're going to be able to have good things happen.
Right.
And that's exactly what he needs for his team to do.
Sullivan back out to the top. Alexander drops to Sullivan. Up. Oh, good. And the Tigers can't hit it that time. Schroff with a rebound.
So a little bit nonchalant on that, Larry. Just kind of easy took it up instead of really taking right to the hole strong.
Lindquist passed to the inside, and Cotter has it knocked out of bounds, but it'll be Montague ball on their own end. And they'll set up the out-of-bounds play, which they run quite effectively most of the time. Anglem inside to Cotter, in the paint, back out to Schloff. Over the top again.
And so far, Shelby's allowed Montague just one shot, and we've been pretty good about getting the second, third chances, but there's an example of second chance right there for Shelby.
Exactly right. Heikoop with the basket. Makes it 8-4, a 4-point deficit for the Wildcats. Wildcats, Scott Lindquist can't get it to go. Wildcats found themselves down early at Shelby. Find the same thing tonight right here. Craig Alexander across the timeline. Very quick point guard. Foul is going to be called an Anglem on the shot, I believe, as Alexander put it up from the far right baseline. Alexander averaging a little over 15 points per game, and we have a timeout on the floor. Well, if you're Coach Rick Zulik, you have to like what you've seen so far, Jeff.
Well, you come into the home court and you got off quick, and you're doing exactly what you want to do. You're shutting them down at one end, and right now Doug Schloff, as I said, is getting the shots, but he's not dropping them, and we're only getting that one shot. We've had contributions by some other people. At the other end, they're running their offense to, I don't know about perfection, but they're certainly getting the shots they like and then getting the second opportunities, as they've had a couple of those so far. And,
right.
That's exactly what you want.
Well, you mentioned that Schloff is 0 for 3, I think, tonight on the court, but you just know that he's going to come through. He's shooting about 55% from the floor, as we said, and you rarely hold a 55% shooter down in a game like this.
Well, they've been good shots, Larry, and they've been right on. You know, it's not as if you're really breaking them up there.
No,
he's putting them up, and they're just a little bit short, a little bit long, and he's got that touch, and it'll come. It's just a matter of he's got to keep on shooting.
Right. And you know there've got to be butterflies out there. They're a part of both teams for that matter. But the Wildcats have not been able to convert on the things like the Tigers have to this point. Well, Alexander misses that free throw.
Hopefully that's a good sign, as Mr. Alexander really hurt us up there with his free throws.
He did indeed, that's right. It's back on target to make it 9-4. Tigers, 4:22 left in the first quarter. Well, we scored 36 points in one quarter in the last game I saw, Jeff, and here we've only scored 4 thus far. Excellent defense by the Tigers, and not very good offense on the part of the Wildcats in terms of the baskets they made.
Right.
Good execution, they just can't get them to fall.
Well, that's a good shot. It certainly wasn't a bad shot that he had. It just, again, just didn't get it to go.
Schneider and Tate are in the game for the Wildcats. Grants with a turnaround, no good, and Cotter with a nice rebound. Ahead to Tate. Tate, of course, a former Shelby resident, probably played at least in junior high against some of these same kids, Jeff. Eric Webb now, setting it up from the top. Point guard Eric Webb, good execution of the offense. That's what he's looking for. Matt Cotter would turn around, falls short, and Justin Grants again gets the rebound. Jeff, you commented about this before, but this could be a real bad omen for the Wildcats if they don't start getting some of those offensive rebounds.
Well, I think one of the real keys is
Schlaff with the rebound off the missed shot by
much
Alexander.
trouble as they're having putting the ball in the hole.
Nice.
If they can just play good defense and keep themselves in the ball game, they're going to get a spurt, and that's what they need. They have to keep Shelby from having that spurt.
Grants from the outside. Grants is hot tonight, Jeff. I don't think he did miss one shot, I believe. We have to credit Eric Webb a really nice assist as Tate made the basket that last time down the court. Eric knew exactly where Tate was. Well, that time Doug put it in, but I don't think they're going to count it, Jeff.
Yeah, they said Grant's got him. I tell you, I think some of the idea is to get Grant's in foul trouble, get it into Doug, but that's the first time Doug's really taken it at him and got the contact, and he has to do more of that.
First personal and the first team foul on the Tigers. Lindquist and Anglem coming back in for the Wildcats. Tate to put it into play under the Wildcat basket with a box being the play call. Crossover in the paint. Out to Anglem. Anglem drives the paint as it momentarily knocked away. Schlaff on Anglem with the missed shot. And again, Heikoop now comes down with the rebounds. Craig Alexander with the ball. Bring it up against Lindquist. The Tigers set it up. Grant's being fronted now and guarded from the back as well. Grant's with the rebound, short on the shot. And the Wildcats are going to get the ball out of bounds. Well, I noticed Mark Schneider did a nice job of fronting Grants that time on the play, and Schlaff, of course, got him from behind, and they couldn't possibly get the ball to him.
That's right. Again, they had that second shot, though, and we've got to cut that off.
Schlaff for the Wildcats. There it is. 11-8 Wildcats. 1:55 remaining in the first quarter. Shelby's handling our press quite well, Jeff. That's an important factor if you're a Tiger fan, of course. Blocked by Scott Lindquist, who recovers the ball. Lindquist stepped out of bounds after he blocked the shot, however, so we called a turnover for the Wildcats, or against the Wildcats.
Right. Larry, at this point it's 11-8 Shelby, but we've been substituting quite a bit so far. And again, we have. And I think, just like most other games, that's really helped us down the stretch when other teams are a little bit tired because they got those 5 guys to go with. We still have all our guys still coming in fresh, just as Alexander pops one.
Yes, that's right. Makes it a 5-point difference, 13-8. Senior Craig Alexander showing some of that poise. Lindquist into Schlaff this time. Turnaround up. Again off the back of the rim. And number 30 who's coming to contest is Scott Sherman. Foul being called on the Wildcats. Scott Sherman's very quick. Good defensive spark. And has been an important part of the of the Tiger game plan throughout the season. Foul is on Mark Schneider, his first, team second. Tigers put the ball into play. 1:15 remaining in the first quarter. Jason Kennedy, number 15 now into the game, is Keith Zulik, son of the coach. Grants, the turnaround. He was open for that one, Jeff, in the paint. He's dangerous from any place in that neighborhood.
He lost his man totally in there. Doug got lost along the baseline and couldn't get to him, got screened off. And he had an easy 10-foot turnaround.
15-8. Wildcats deficit is 7. We're going to have a foul called on the pass inside. Nice pass to Anglem. I'm not sure who they're going to call it on. I think Scott Sherman. It should be his first. Yes, it is. That's the team's second. And now we have number 44, Ryan Richards, coming in for the Shelby Tigers. They may lose some in experience when Richard comes in, but they don't lose anything in height, Jeff. He's 6'6", an inch taller. And a foul is going to be called in the paint as Lindquist go toward the bucket.
I think the Wildcats are doing the right thing. They're taking the ball to the hole. Even though things aren't dropping right now, they're going to the hole and making the Tigers follow them. And sooner or later, that's going to pay off for them in terms of putting them at the line, or they're going to have to back off.
At least at this stage of the game, you want to do what's gotten you where you are all season long. And they've won their offense, attacked the paint, and that's been an important part of their offense throughout the season. Matt Cotter, with the shot attempt, has it blocked, but Ryan Richards called for the foul, his first, team's fourth. and Matt Cotter will be at the line. Cotter shooting about 77% from the charity stripe for the season. Good on the first, makes it a 6-point difference, 15-9 with 39 seconds left in the quarter. And now it's a 5-point difference. Haiku inbounds it. Kennedy presses on. Haiku keeps Zulik. Well, they get it across the timeline. Down to the baseline it goes. Into Richards. Lindquist with a block shot. And I think basket's going to be good. Good bucket. I think that's the second personal on Doug Schlaff, if that's what the call is. Haiku is going to be at the line.
Oh, that's Doug's first.
First shot, first foul. I thought he had one early in the game. Well, I'm glad I'm wrong.
But again, there's that second shot opportunity. We blocked it, but they got the ball right back and stuck it back up, and now a 3-point opportunity.
Schlaff for the rebound this time. 17-10. Wildcats down by 7 with 17 seconds left in the first quarter. Coach Jim Tate hollering out new instructions to his Chargers on the court. Eric Webb down the paint. Up and in! That's a Wildcat deficit to 5. At the buzzer, the shot goes up by Jason Kennedy. No good for the score at the end of the first quarter. An exciting quarter of basketball at Montague High School. 17 for the Tigers of Shelby, 12 for the Montague Wildcats. Well, Jeff, what do you think? The Wildcats and the Tigers are really tangling. Wildcats and Tigers are really tangling.
I guess that's the way it's supposed to be.
I think you're right. But, you know, the Wildcats had their hands full at Shelby in the first half, actually in the first 3 quarters. They know that they're going to have their hands full anytime they play these Tigers. They had their hands full the whole game, really, but they did better in that fourth quarter. I think that they're playing fairly well. They're just not getting those baskets to drop.
Well, they're not playing as tentative as I thought they played up at Shelby. They're going at the basket. They're attacking. They've got Shelby in foul trouble. Whispered in your ear. Shelby's going to go to the line and we foul, but we've got to stop him from getting the second shots. And, you know, we just have to execute a little bit better. And we have to start getting on the offensive board and getting a few extra shots of our own.
Well, here we go. Greg Alexander being guarded closely by Eric Webb. Alexander to the paint, drops it out to Grants. Grants to the paint. No good is the shot attempt, and Mark Schneider comes away with the ball. So an important turnover. The Wildcats get the first opportunity here of the second quarter to add to their score. Mark Schneider driving right. Nothing there. Pulls it up and back out to Schlaff with a 3-point attempt. No good. Lindquist with the rebound. Lindquist inside. We're going to have a jump ball, I believe is the call.
Yep, and Montague gets it on the
exchange. Good inside position that time by Lindquist. Play being run. Matt Cotter gets it back out to Mark Schneider. And we go again. Eric Webb. Matt Cotter, excuse me. Good! From about 15 feet. 3-point difference now with 7:15 remaining in the first half. 17-14 Shelby. Play being set up.
And with that, Haiku's coming right back in.
Ryan Richards from 15, no good. Lindquist with a rebound once more. Eric Webb ahead to Schlaff. Schlaff drives right. We're going to have a blocking foul called on Alexander.
Alexander trying to use his quickness, but Terry Carlson right on the call and saw it as a block.
Jeff, let me ask you a different kind of question right now as we wait for Schlaff, an 82% shooter at the line to put these up. You're the official in this contest. How do you feel about a game that's kind of tense and exciting, quick action? These guys seem to be doing a pretty good job, Terry Carlson and Leon Still. You've been an official. What's it like?
Well, these are the kind of games you like. You like the excellent play games, the good ball players. This is what you're refereeing out there for, to see the good ball games, be a part of those good ball games. And it's the kids' ball games, but I'll tell you what, you really like these situations.
Basket by Grants brings the Shelby Tigers back to a 3-point lead, 19-16. I think that's 10 points for Grants already this game.
He's doing
inside
a nice
the Lindquist.
job.
Turnaround. Won't go over the rim. Grants with the rebound. Bringing it up. Justin Grants. Good ball handler as well as a shooter, as you see there. Can't get it to drop. His own rebound. Up and in. Now that was a 7-footer. He's going to make those almost every time if they're not contested heavily.
Well, got a 12-footer and then a 7-footer. Again, 2 shots for the price of 1, and we just got 1, and we've got to stick it.
Schneider offering instructions to his teammates. Schneider driving left. Back to the paint is Schneider. He will draw the foul. I believe on the paint move, number 25, Jason Sullivan, might be the person with the foul. That's his first, and it'll put Mark Schneider, the leading free throw shooter in the league, in the whole West Michigan Conference, at the charity stripe. Schneider shooting about 85% on the year.
What a nice feature to be able to come off the bench with somebody like Mark Schneider, who for any other team in the league would certainly be able to start. And you know, he has fit into that role just perfectly and just added a different dimension to this team. When you think about somebody coming off, you know, it's just as strong.
You bet. You couldn't ask for any more out of somebody coming off the bench than we've had from Mark Schneider this season. Outside shot missed that time by Grants. Alexander cross to Grants. Jason Sullivan, I think, number 25. Yes, Jason Sullivan with the outside shot puts him up by 6, 23-17 with 5:22 remaining in the first half. Brad Tate, who replaced Lindquist, setting up the play. Matt Cotter, drives the right baseline. Steps out of bounds as he tries to save it by throwing it off from the white jersey. But it'll be Sullivan putting the ball into play as Lindquist comes in along with Englum. Jason Sullivan ahead to Craig Alexander. They've got some nice guards, Jeff. That Alexander and Sullivan work well together.
Well, and I'm impressed. They're handling the ball much, much better than they did up at Shelby. They've come a long ways even since then, and they played well against us there.
Alexander misses the outside shot.
I think Doug Schlaff over the back. Again, Shelby goes for that offensive board, and that's been a key so far tonight. Rebound after rebound and that second chance.
Not that we look for those things, but if you're a Wildcat fan, Grants is much more accurate from the floor than he is from the free throw stripe. Doug Schlaff gets the rebound.
Well, it's just that 1 or 2 foot out of his range, and you can really tell the difference.
We have a blocking foul on Haikoop as Englum went to the baseline. Nice power move by Ryan Englum. Draws the personal, and I think that's his second. Well, no, I'm wrong. Wrong again, Jeff. I better not announce any more fouls tonight. Just keep my mouth shut. You do that part, okay?
I'll see if I can keep up on it.
Okay. Englum at the line at any rate with a 1 in bonus. 41% from the charity stripe is Ryan for the season. Ryan has made so many important contributions to the Wildcats' cause this year. Another one right there brings the Cats in striking range. 5-point difference. 4:47 left in the first half. Doug Schlaff could make this a 3-point play. Gets around Grants and does make it a 3-point play. 3-point difference now. 23-20. Craig Alexander. Jason Sullivan from way out. No good. And Schlaff ahead to Tate. Across the floor to Englum. Englum stops, puts it up, blocked. Englum back out to Schlaff. Schlaff from 3. No good. Englum with the rebound. No good. Rebound Wildcats. We're going to get traveling ball as both Englum and Cotter were fighting for that rebound.
Even though we didn't get anything, Larry, those are the things we have to do. We had 4 shots at it, and we have to get those opportunities. We haven't been getting those opportunities, and the Tigers have, and they've been making the most of them. It'll come again if we'll take advantage of really working hard to get that position and getting the boards, and the points will be there.
Well, here come the Tigers with Alexander being guarded by Lindquist, looking inside to Haikoop, and Haiku can't control it as Mark Schneider slipped out to do the fronting.
I'll tell you, good backside help by Matt Cotter there.
Lindquist no good from the outside. Real nice backside help and threw Haiku off the stride. Sullivan, Haiku, good, and Schneider's going to be called for the personal. Haiku in a good position, get that rebound, went right back up strong with it, and that's what you should do if you're a big guy underneath there.
That's right. Well,
good heady move by Haikamps, or excuse me,
Haiku. Belaboring the point, but I would gather to say that 10 or 12 of their points so far have been on second basket efforts, and that has really hurt the Wildcats thus far.
Right. Matt Cotter with the rebound brings it down court. Schlaff stops and puts it up from 17 feet, no good. And it comes out to Craig Alexander, who's going back against Eric Webb. Up, short, tipped in by, I don't know who we're going to give that one to.
Well, I think Matt Cotter got it.
I think either Haiku or Kennedy probably. I think they were the closest one.
One of those two, right.
Lindquist inside to Cotter, looking to go around Haiku, and he does, but the basket will be no good. The foul was called long before the shot went up.
And that was his second, Larry.
Thank you, Jeff. I needed that. You know I'm not going to say anything more now. Well, if you're a Wildcat fan, it's good to have people like Matt Cotter and whoever's out there on the floor, because we're all pretty good free throw shooters. We'd like to see them sink these two to bring us back to a 5-point difference. 27-20 right now, 3:16 remaining in a half.
With that, Jason Bays comes in and for Haiku. And I think that if we can get the ball to Cotter, when Haikup's in there, Haikup's going to put his body on him. Now, whether the officials will call it or not, I don't know. But they certainly got his hands all over Matt that time, and that's what was called that particular chance.
Well, we have a 27-22 game now as Cotter sinks those two free throws. Nice move by the Wildcats that time. Nice hustle as the press paid off. About the first time we've had a good turnover on the press, isn't it, Jeff?
That's right.
Lindquist, Schlaff, up, good! 27-24, back within 3. Wildcats hustling back to get down floor and do deflect it, but the Shelby Tigers had both Grants and number 40 Bays back on the left.
Yeah, well, we're lucky we got our hands on that, Larry, because that would have been easy too. But, you know, we have done that time and time again, and it really hasn't hurt us. A couple times they've got a basket, but that's one of our strengths throughout the year.
No good is Alexander. Cotter, Englund, up. He's fouled by 25, Jason Kennedy. 27-24 is the score remaining with 2:39 left in the first half. Englund at the Wildcat charity stripe.
I think that was on Jason Sullivan, number 25. And Larry, that was his second foul.
Okay, Englund at the Wildcat line, as we said. Off the back of the rim and his first attempt. He can cut the lead to 2 here with this shot. The Wildcats got within 1 early in this quarter, Jeff, but haven't been closer than 3 since. Now we're 2 down.
Well, just keep at what they do and don't get riled. 2 points at a time and have to stop and make the stops, and they'll be okay.
Lindquist with the block from the backside, but he's called for the foul as Jason Bays was ready to go up for the shot. Jason Bays, junior, is a very hard worker, and Coach Zulik said that he was a very good rebounder for his size. He was right underneath the basket that time for that shot. Up, good. Makes it a 3-point difference. Jason Bays impresses Coach Zulik as one of his hardest workers.
Well, I'll tell you, I've been impressed with Coach Zulik's team both times I've seen this year. They're all hard workers and, you know, just extremely well coached and just do an excellent job out there. They've played us twice even up, and hopefully tonight we'll have the better half of it in the second half and get that even up score too. But just well done.
Schloff with the move to the inside of the paint. Foul's going to be called again on number 25, Jason Sullivan, I believe.
And I believe that's his third, Larry.
Yes, you're right. Again. How did you know that?
I don't know. I just don't know.
Doug Schloff at the Wildcat line, 82% on the season. Be a two-shot attempt since he was in the act of shooting. You know, almost every time Doug gets his hands on the ball from about that position, he's going to head for that baseline. And a lot of the times he puts it right on up and in.
Well, for his size, he's extremely quick. For most big men, they can't handle him. In fact, he got by his man. It was, as I said, Jason Sullivan that came in and fouled him from behind.
Lindquist knocks the ball away from Alexander along the right-hand side in front of the Montague bench. 2:10 remaining in the first half, 29-27, Shelby. Tigers put it in. Schloff intercepts down the field. Foul in the act of shooting by Bays. I think Doug had a little thought about a dunk there maybe, Jeff, but he didn't get the chance.
I think when he got by Bays the first time, he was thinking dunk, but that was a smart play by Bays. And he did it in such a way that nobody was going to get hurt, and I like to see that.
Now, Jeff, can you explain why you think that was a smart move? Why would the fans need to think that was a smart move?
Well, first of all, you know, he's not in foul trouble. He wants to put Doug on that foul line, make two shots to get the 2 points, and there's the example of it. But we only got 1 point out, although we did get the rebound. But instead of giving him that easy one, make sure that he has to go and shoot 2 balls to get 2 points.
Lindquist from three-point land, no good. Over the top once again. Absolutely right, Jeff, and it paid off that time for the Wildcats. That time for the Tigers, I mean, as the second free throw was missed. Alexander, nice baseline move of his own, puts it up and in. He got up high that time, Jeff, real high.
Well, we're used to seeing Eric do some of that in terms of his quickness and his jumping ability, and Alexander showed that he can do that too. Alexander, I don't know if people know that, went out for track last year and was the high jump champion in the conference. His first year, and so he can get up.
Yes, and he's only 5'10".
That's right.
Cotter missed that last shot on the turnaround, and Alexander tries it again over the top. Cotter can't control. Now he knocks it away, but a save by Keith Zulik, who shoots from the outside. Good! 3-point shot with exactly 1 minute left. Pulls the Tigers ahead by 6, 34-28.
Well, I remember seeing another Zulik do things like that, and that's the man sitting on the bench. And nice hustle by Matt Cotter.
Nice power that time by Matt Cotter. Paint shot off the glass. Good by Eric Wynn. 34-30 with 37 seconds left in the half. Cross-court pass. Down the court it goes. Scott Sherman controlling the ball. Back to Alexander, a little point guard, scrappy point guard, playmaker for the Shelby Tigers. Zulik, Sherman, Alexander. Baseline block by Webb. Some of the Wildcat fans thought that might have gone off from Alexander's leg, Jeff.
Right, well, and Leon Still wasn't in a position to see it, and he asked for help from Terry Carlson from where Terry saw it, called it Shelby out of bounds. So
Lindquist kicked the ball that time, and Grants gets the ball underneath. Oh, good, and you won't see that very often. A little off balance. Schloff up. No good on the shot, but he's going to be fouled by Jason Bays once again. You knew that Doug Schloff was going to the bucket that time. He had his eyes set on it. No matter what was in front of him, he was going up at the rim.
That's right. And I think that's what Doug has to do. He has to take the ball to the basket and make them pay.
Ryan Richards back in for the Tigers, giving Grants a rest. Smart move by Coach Zulik with 10 seconds left in the half. Protect your big man.
That's right. And I think that was a smart move by Bays again. I think Alexander would have probably got a blocking foul if Bays hadn't stepped in. So he took it instead of one of the starters.
Well, we had a little confusion that time. The horn was blowing and the officials couldn't hear it due to the noise. And I think we're going to have a little conference at the line. Now, Mark Schneider was waiting for the substitution for Doug Schlaff at the line, and the officials did not hear the horn. 34-31 is the score, 10 seconds left in the half. The play resumed. Jeff, is this a correctable error? Well, moving right along, folks. You couldn't see that, but Jeff gave me a look that made me say we didn't want to talk about that on the air. So we'll let the officials talk about it.
I'm not so sure it is. I believe once that ball was handed, it goes to the Wildcats. So I believe it's the Wildcats' ball out of bounds. I don't believe it's a correctable error. So I believe the Wildcats will get the ball out of bounds.
Well, we have the substitution at least. Art Keel and
usually when we make a decision like that, Larry, we've been wrong. So, but I believe that the Wildcats should get the ball out of bounds because the ball was thrown out of bounds. Nobody heard it, and you can't stop the buzzer.
Well, the buzzer did ring, and Art Keel, the Wildcats scored.
I was right.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
I was right, whether I was right or I was wrong.
So with 10 seconds left, the Wildcats have a chance to get the last bucket of the half here, trailing by 2, 34-32. This could be a big, big play right here, Jeff.
You got it.
Morale-wise, as well as score-wise. Lindquist, the timeline, across the timeline, up, whoop, nope, no shot was taken. The Wildcats could not capitalize on that, and Lindquist couldn't get the shot up, and Mark Schneider had the ball when the horn sounded. No shot. The score remains 34-32 Tigers at halftime. Jeff, this remind you of anything? A 2-point difference on the scoreboard here? Do you remember anything about a 2-point difference last time?
Seems to me it was a 2-point difference at the end of the ball game.
You're right. It was a 2-point difference. I think we were down by 8 at halftime, but at the end of the game it was 2 points. Boy, what a contest! These two clubs just go right at one another.
Well, the second quarter, I think we came out and we started establishing ourselves a little bit better. On the press, we started making things happen, as was evident in that last play. We started rotating back on the defense on the press. They weren't getting the easy 2-pointers. We stopped them from getting their second shots, and we started getting some second shots. And so if we continue to do that, I think we're going to certainly be in a position to make a charge at them in the second half. And, I think even though I believe they scored about the same number of points both quarters, I really believe that the momentum's changed in our direction.
I think you're right. And another thing I think we ought to take note of here for a second is the fact that fouls could be an important part in the second half. Now, we don't have the stats up here, of course, but from my recollection, Jeff, it seems to me that Coach Julich sat down Haiku, maybe partially at least because of some foul concerns. I think he has 2, if not 3. Alexander has 2. We know that Schlaff has 2 for the Wildcats, but it just seems to me in my mind that the Tigers find themselves a little bit more in difficulty in that category than the Wildcats at halftime.
And we said that early on, that the Wildcats had to keep on taking the ball to the paint because that's where they were going to make the difference. And when they start doing that, they put the Tigers in a lot of trouble. Jason Sullivan has 3. And I look for more of the same when we come out that second half. We're going to just keep on pounding the ball inside and going to the hole and trying to draw those 3rd and 4th fouls on those people and make them have some bench time and bring on the people off their bench and see if we can't take advantage of them.
Jeff, you've coached middle school, junior high, high school, varsity, etc. What more can you tell your kids to do in a game like this? I mean, they're hustling, and I'm talking about both coaches now, not just Mr. Tate. Both coaches know they have their hands full. Both clubs are playing all out. Is there anything that you could tell them to do differently than they are that's going to make a big difference in terms of not only the play on the court, but in terms of their mental preparedness?
I think probably the basic thing, and both coaches are telling them, listen, guys, you have to keep on playing tough defense. You have to rebound well and be patient on your offense. You get 2 points at a time. Don't worry about trying to fill it up all at once. And that somewhere along the line, one of these teams is going to spurt. And if we do it right, we're going to be the team that's going to spurt, and that's going to spell the difference. Usually a ball game of this magnitude, that's exactly what happens. One team, for whatever reason, he hits a span where they outscore the team 10-2, 14-4, something on that order, and the game all of a sudden, which is close, is beyond that.
Well, the game down in Oak Ridge last Thursday night was a good example of that, Jeff. It was a contest all the way with scorekeeper Art Keel, as I talked to him before the contest, said that indeed there was some doubt as to the outcome of the game with even a minute left in that contest. And we had an important turnover, got possession, and took advantage of it. So you never can tell. In a close contest like this, it can go either way.
Again, I haven't followed Shelby too much, and as I said, I've been real impressed with the 2 games I've watched them, but I know that our depth and how we rotate people in and out. And in fact, sometimes you wonder if they get any rest because it's almost as if they hit the bench and they're right back in. But, you just got to have a feeling when we were up at Shelby. And again, as I said at the beginning of the thing, Shelby played a very good, sound basketball game. But at the end, even as poorly as we played, we started to come back. And, if it had been a couple minutes longer, it might have been a different story. So I just got to believe that again, is going to make the difference, as it's made the difference in a lot of real close ball games for us throughout. And I'm sure that Coach Tate is stressing that with his team too. Guys, we're in better condition. We've got more weapons to come at them with, and let us get to the 4th quarter and be close, because that'll be the telltale sign. Of course, I think Rick Zulik is saying, guys, you're at their court, you're 2 points up. You know you can do it. You've done it already once this year. You just got to keep on playing tough. You got to pound the ball inside. Don't get rattled. Don't let the crowd get you rattled, and just play your ball game.
But Jeff, you made some appropriate comments about the bench strength, but I think we also ought to note that Shelby gets good support tonight out there. They've already had at least four players off the bench, and they haven't hurt at all.
No,
you had Richards come in there, you had Zulli come in there, you had Sherman come in there, and one other whose name I can't. Bays, that's right. And they all hustle. They all know where to be at the right times, and they look to get there as quickly as they can. So Rick Zulik, he has to be really pleased with what he's seen in that department tonight too.
Well, and I know, Larry, you're a good ball team or you're not a good ball team, not just by your starters, because there's going to be nights when they're going to have off nights, there's going to be nights when they're going to be in foul trouble. You have to have those contributors off the bench. And the reason Montague is 15-1 and Shelby's 12-3 is because they have some excellent starting players, but they also have some tremendous bench players that come in and really spell those players, give some very quality playing time while out there, and really make a difference.
Well, Jeff, I think we're going to give ourselves a little break here. With a few minutes left before the resumption of the play, we're going to take a few minutes to give our throats a little rest, maybe get a drink and wet ourselves up a bit. Fans, we'll be right back for the... Welcome back to Montague High School for the second half action of the Shelby Tigers Montague Wildcats contest. Jeff, one of the things that we haven't commented about yet is the fact that the Shelby Tigers have been off for a week, having not played last Friday night, of course. That doesn't seem to have hurt their game too much.
I was going to say, I'm very impressed. Of course, they could give them just that little bit of extra practice time against Montague, too, preparing for us, knowing what he's going to have to go up against. Although I wouldn't think Coach Zulik, having played for Coach Tate, would have to prepare a tremendous amount for him, because I'm sure that there's some of those things that, and I think we've seen those, that the Tigers run themselves. So,
right.
No, it certainly hasn't hampered them one bit.
Well, the Tigers have to have their confidence bolstered as well in terms of their showing the first half. You always kind of wonder, I think, in a situation like this. It was a close contest the first time we were going down to their home. Will they blow us away in the first 3 minutes of the game? When we played Whitehall, we won both games, but they were certainly different kinds of games. And that's the kind of thing I think both clubs were probably wondering a bit about, at least to themselves, before tonight's game. Will it be a close contest as before, or will it be one way or the other?
Well, that's exactly right. And, I think the third quarter is a big quarter for the Wildcats. Throughout this year, we've had some horrendously played third quarters and then come back and had some really super fourth quarters. But I don't think tonight we can afford that. We just have to, I think this is the big key for us right now, this third quarter. Not necessarily do we have to beat them, but we have to stay right with them and play them even, or, maybe gain a point or two, but we certainly can't fall behind very far in this fourth quarter.
Well, you know, the last time we were on the air, Jeff, the Wildcats scored 36 points in the third quarter against Grant. But you can't expect that every time out, of course. And if you look back over the last 2 years, as a matter of fact, the Wildcats have had some real difficulties in that third quarter. They've struggled. Coach Tate, I know, probably has his own butterflies about the third quarter action, how that's going to go. So it's important to get off fast.
I'm sure both coaches had butterflies before the game, and they have them right now at halftime again. And you know, both of them are hoping for just excellently played second halves by their squads. And again, as I said, I'm sure that their squads are up to that challenge.
Shelby gets the ball in the first possession of the second half. Alexander running the offense now, puts it up, falls a little short, and Schlaff comes out with a nice rebound for the Wildcats. Schlaff in the side to Lindquist, up, good! Nice assist to Doug Schlaff.
Well, hopefully that'll get Scott off and going too. He struggled a little bit in the shot, and may get him right there where he wants to be. There it is, another steal.
Steal by the Wildcats. Turnover. Lindquist bringing the ball up into Cotter. Cotter looking inside to Anglin, back outside. Cotter driving the paint. Turnaround. Up the ball goes. Over the top, and Justin Grants gets an important rebound. And we saw that at the beginning of the first half, Jeff. If you're a Wildcat fan, you don't want to see that this half.
But we had, I think, a better shot there, better movement, and just a matter of a nice steal by Scott.
Lindquist with a steal.
Good backside help again. Here comes Doug.
Wildcats don't get the advantage of that turnover, however, as they make one of their own. So Alexander brings the Tigers back to the pace. Jason Sullivan.
Here comes Grant.
Highcoop inside, blocked by Lindquist. Up and in as Alexander got the block shot, put it right up underneath.
Well, Alexander came from the weak side guard position and just grabbed that uncontested and just waited till everything cleared and then put it up and in.
Well, the Wildcats tie didn't last long as Shelby draws ahead by 2. Lindquist saves the ball from a turnover that time as Schlaff threw it back outside. Running the offense now. Anglin looking inside, drives to the paint. Cotter up over Grants. Good! Nice shot that time. And a wise move by Grants, by the way. He didn't jump to draw that foul either.
Well, he's played pretty smart. He knows he can't afford to get in foul trouble because that puts him on the bench. He takes a lot out of their offense when you do that. That's 20 points right there.
That's exactly right. 20 points a game. Leading scorer in the West Michigan Conference. Highcoop with 10 points a game. Alexander driving left. In and out. Grants in. Excuse me, I was going to say in and out, but it didn't go in and out. And the Shelby Tigers take advantage of their strength underneath as Jason Sullivan gets that basket.
I tell you, that was an off balance.
Turnover Wildcats. As the intended pass was for Schlaff, but it went a little too far to the...
little miscommunication there.
Right,
I think Eric thought he was going to break to the basket, and Doug was staying wide, and so it cost him the turnover.
And the Wildcats had a 3-on-1 chance that time, but couldn't convert. Grants from 15, good! 40-36, a 4-point lead, the biggest of the half for the Tigers. Eric Webb has it stolen by Alexander. No good. Blocked out of bounds. Wildcats ball. It's going to be hit off from Alexander, I believe. Jeff, we couldn't see that from up here, but the official was right underneath the basket.
Yeah, and he didn't see anything, and again, it looks like Alexander may have got hit in the face somehow, but how that happened, we're not sure. Eric got a little sloppy there, and Alexander stripped him clean.
Well, obviously, the Shelby fans didn't like that non-call by the official, but it was difficult for us to see up here just exactly what that situation was. Cotter off the glass, in good. Nice roll that time for the Wildcats. Brings them within 2, 40-38 with 4:30 remaining in the third quarter. Jason Sullivan, Craig Alexander. Nice pass back to Alexander. Good from 15. 42-36, excuse me, 42-38. Schlaff across the timeline. Fake off the glass, in and out, just exactly a repeat of Cotter's basket a minute ago.
I think this is a game that both of these kids like to play, run and shoot and put it up. Here we go again.
That's exactly what we're seeing at least. Blocked by Lindquist. It'll be out of bounds, Jeff. What's the reason for that?
Well, it hit the under part of the backboard, and that's out of bounds. And so Scott was the last one to hit it, I believe, on the block. So we got Shelby ball.
Scott's had 3-4 maybe of those blocks tonight, I think. That time the ball went off the same backboard.
That's right, on the back side of it,
and
so now it's out to the Wildcats.
Eric Webb getting a rest as Brad Tate comes in to replace him. Lindquist gets the ball inbounds from Schlaff.
Shelby's got a nice little press here.
Schneider up. Good! 3 off the glass in a row. Makes it a tie game. 42 all. Steal by Schneider. Across the paint. Pass. Wildcats control. Lindquist on the left baseline. Out to Schneider. Up from 15. Over the top this time.
Well, Larry, we just can't seem to get up over that hump. 42 all had an opportunity, but it'll come if we just keep on being patient and working hard as we have been. Nice try by Scott.
Shelby now finds themselves in a different position than they had been most of the contest. And since the opening gun, as a matter of fact, they were ahead 2-zip. Alexander from the outside, short. Schneider with the rebound. Number 25 is going to be called with the foul. Now that was a wise move on the part of Mark Schneider, but if you're a Shelby Tiger fan, why would you think that wasn't a good call, Jeff?
Well, it could have looked like Mark was trying to draw that, and that's exactly what they were calling for. Maybe gave him an elbow and pushed him off. But when you're coming up behind like that, and you can see that offensive man watching you better steer clear. Maybe try just to get in front of him. And that's Sullivan, I believe, 4th foul.
It is.
And so that's really going to hurt in that category. He's going to have to sit down for a while.
6'1" senior Jason Sullivan with his 4th personal with 3:05 remaining in a tie score at 42. Wanted to do anything but draw that foul. But in the heat of battle and the excitement of the action on the court, you do sometimes do things you don't want to do as well.
Well, and again, as you said prior to us talking about this, is that very smart play by Mark as he came up the court. A lot of times the kids will go up the court and not watch what's behind them, but Mark came up the court, was very aware where the players were, watched behind, and at the right time stepped over in front and drew the foul.
That's the first personal of the half on either club, so we've played nearly 5 minutes with no fouls except that one. Wildcats ball out of bounds. Eric Webb now back in for Lindquist into the Wildcat lineup. And Keith Zulik. I'll get it right after a while. Keith Zulik replacing Sullivan. Tate to Schneider. Schneider looking inside. Back out to Schneider. Good patience this time on the part of the Wildcats. Tate over to Webb. Webb back up the top. Good ball movement now with 2:42 remaining. Off the side of the basket is Cotter. Schlaff for the rebound. Wildcats score, makes it 44-42, the first lead of the night for the Cats.
Well, now the Wildcats, that gives them some good momentum. They have to make sure that they play smart now. That's exactly what we're hoping will happen. That the Tigers will get a little rattled. This is the first time they've been down all night. Drop back out of the press.
Substitution as Lindquist comes back in for Tate. Turnover is a very costly thing anytime, but in a situation like this, could be a big swing. 2:25 in the third quarter. 2-point lead. 44-42 for the Wildcats. Lindquist looking to go to Cotter. Does. We're going to have an offensive foul as Matt Cotter tried to go around the inside that time, stuck the elbow.
Yeah, good call. But Matt has to continue to do that. They have to keep on working on Haikuk because they have to, I think they can get him in foul trouble to keep on getting that ball inside.
Inbounds passed, almost stolen. What pressure by the Wildcats. Haikuk inside, short, his own rebound, good! tie game again, 44 all. It's High Coop gets in a very important bucket for the Tigers with 1:57 remaining.
What the Wildcats have to do is be patient and get that lead and be patient. Be smart about it.
Schloff with the paint. That drive is going to be called for the travel.
Boy, if they can clear that floor for Doug, though, I think he can take Grants to the basket just about every time.
Yeah, Grants can't afford to get too many more fouls here with still one full quarter left to go.
That's right.
44 all is the score. Sports fans, Grants from the corner. Over Connor, Mark Schneider with the rebound. Schneider down court quickly. Offensive foul. There's a call there. Number 22, Jason Kennedy, draws that personal against Schneider to be his third.
I'll tell you, they've been well schooled in how to draw those fouls that way. They do a number of those on us up there at Shelby, and again here one right now.
That was a real critical factor in that game at Shelby. We had 3 charging fouls called on us in the 4th quarter. If you're a Wildcat fan, you can see all 3 of them right now.
That's for sure.
Grant's move against Connor is good. Grants have been kind of quiet this half, Jeff, with 1:05, though. He gets that important bucket to put the Tigers up by 2, 46-44. Webb, Schneider. Inside it goes to Schloff. Up. Foul's going to be called on Alexander. Alexander dropped off to help against Schloff that time. Good backside defense.
That's only his 2nd foul, and well, that certainly helps. We certainly like to see him have a few more.
Right. Schloff, as we said, is the leading rebounder in the league. But he's also 5th in free throw percentage at 80%. And I think he's only missed 1 from the line tonight. I believe he'll be 7 for 8 if he makes this one. High game again, folks. 53 seconds in the 3rd quarter. Zulik driving up the court. Passes ahead, but he can't get it through. Schneider picks up the loose ball. Lindquist steps. There's a call. The Lindquist basket is not going to count.
I'll tell you, Larry, we've had some key turnovers when we could have put a little distance between us and the Tigers. And that's been critical. I certainly hope that doesn't come back and haunt us.
I think Scott was surprised to see he was that open that time.
I think so, too.
Knows now he probably should have taken that dribble a little sooner. Grants. Anglin with the rebound. Down court it goes. Anglin hustles. Now passes back to Eric Webb. Schneider, Lindquist. Taking some time off the clock with 17 seconds left in the 3rd quarter. Lindquist pops out. Ball goes instead to Schloff underneath. No good this time. Shelby Tigers control with 5 seconds. Eric Webb with the personal foul. 4 seconds. 46 all. 2nd team foul on the Wildcats.
Well, that maybe isn't such a bad foul. I mean, you don't want it right there, but they've got to go still about 80-some feet to get the basket.
1. Alexander at the buzzer. No good. Well, why did we play those first 3 quarters, Jeff?
I don't know, but this is exactly what I said the Wildcats had to do. They had to stay right there. On the other hand, that's exactly what Coach Zulik is saying, dude, boy, if you can stay close at their place, you know, you've got them right where you want them. And so, it's, you know, as you said, why do we play those first 3? Who knows? But we're in for a heck of a stretch run here, I believe.
Well, you know, we note that the score is tied at 46 all, and both teams need big quarters. The Wildcats are averaging almost 73 points a game for the season, whereas the opponents of the Wildcats are only averaging about 51 points per game. The Wildcats are going to be a little under their average if they don't improve this quarter, and they've played about the same kind of defense.
Well, and you look at Shelby, they're giving up a few more points, almost 60, but they're right about 70 as well. So you've got two teams averaging 70, with Shelby giving up a little bit more. But in a game like this, you find that the cream comes to the top, and that's exactly what's happening tonight. You've got two teams playing their hearts out, and you're seeing some excellent basketball.
Well, Montague's opponents on the season from the floor are only shooting 38% too, whereas we're shooting 46%. Shelby has not shot that poorly. They're above that 38, and I don't think we're, if we're at 46, we're not much more than that.
That's right.
Turnover goes to the Tigers, and Lindquist going to be called for the tripping foul, I think. I don't think, I know. Lindquist with his second personal. A trip against Alexander, unintentional, but costly if you're a Wildcat fan. It's the fourth team foul. It means that the Wildcats will find themselves in the unenviable position of giving up that bonus situation every time they foul for the next 7 minutes and 41 seconds.
Well, and the Tigers have two to give away before they get in that situation.
Grant's inside. Blocked by Anglin. Scott Sherman was the shooter of that one, but had a little tough luck. Wildcats have had, I would guess, at least a half dozen, if not 7 or 8 blocks this game. Schloff looking to the paint, inside to Cotter. Cotter loses it, goes off from Shelby, and going to be Wildcat ball as Sherman tries to save it, can't quite make it happen. Eric Webb to put the ball in play. Cotter, Lindquist on the top. Schloff looking right. Inside move. Good move. Puts it up. Puts the Wildcats up by 2. 48-46. 6:55 remaining in the fourth quarter. Blocked again, this time by Lindquist, I believe. And Anglin picks up the loose ball.
Now here's where the Wildcats.
Lindquist from 3. Good! A big basket there as Lindquist comes through with his 5th point of the night. 51-46 Wildcats. Alexander with the ball now, setting up
the... Smart by Alexander, just to slow it down, set it up, get things to happen.
Foul is called, I believe, on Eric Webb against the Wildcats, or for the Wildcats. 51-46, the biggest lead of the night for the Wildcats, and might be the biggest lead of this half for either team, Jeff. I'm not sure.
That wasn't much of a foul, but he's going to go to the line, and he's got a chance to bring him back within 3.
Very valuable player is Alexander, averaging 15 points a game, 86% from the, 47% from the field. We said he was only 5'10". He averages 5 rebounds a game. He gets 4 assists per game. Senior experience really makes a difference.
Well, and he runs the whole show for them. Just does a nice job out there in handling their offense as well as keying their defense with his quickness.
Shelby pulls within 3, 51-48 with 6:21 remaining in the fourth quarter. Schloff from three-point land, off the glass in the back rim. Back out to Schloff as Anglin gets that all-important offensive rebound.
Boy, you just don't know during the course of the game, second and third shot opportunities really add up. And, it's the difference between win and losses so many times.
Offensive foul on Eric Webb will be his third. As Craig Alexander's taking a beating, Jeff, but he drew that personal, and that's what he wanted to do.
Well, and that's exactly what we talked about. Him leading the charge not only on offense but on defense, and drew that. And now Eric has 3, as well as we turn the ball over again.
Alexander, Tate going to be called for the foul before the shot. I think he stuck the foot out there a little bit, stuck the knee out or leg out, trying to keep Alexander from driving around, but Alexander be at the line again. And Jeff, if you look at that scoreboard, you'll see that the Wildcats are still not going to be at the line for 3 more times.
Right. Yep. That's.
You hear about fouls to give if you watch any pro games, and it's really kind of an important thing to keep in your mind. If you're if you're a Shelby Tiger right now, that you have those 3 fouls to give.
Well, in the first half, it was just turned around. It was the Wildcats who were in the enviable position of being at the foul line very, very quick. And now, in the second half, it's just turned around. And the Wildcats have to get a good opportunity here.
Lindquist back in, giving Eric Webb a rest. Tate setting up the action for the Wildcats. Anglin, Cotter, looking at the baseline, nothing there, guarded by Grants closely. Good defense that time by the Tigers. Anglin to the paint, off the glass, rolls over the top. Schloff right there for the rebound, up. Good! Nice bounce that time for Doug Schloff. 53-49. Wildcats up by 4 with 5:15 remaining in the contest. Nice interception by Brad Tate. Good anticipation, excellent anticipation. Foul's going to be called, I think, maybe against the Tigers.
And I think Sullivan's gone. Yes, he's gone.
Jason Sullivan draws the personal for the Tigers. Lindquist will be at the charity stripe.
It's funny, Larry, I was just thinking Sullivan's back in there, and they play real well with him in there. Excellent ball handler, and it would be nice if they could get that 5th foul on him, and that's exactly what happened.
Well, Scott drove nicely to the basket at that time. Sullivan had the right idea to try to set up in front of him, but couldn't quite get set in time, according to the officials.
That's right.
2 shots for Lindquist. Long on the first.
Yeah.
75% on the season. Heikoop getting a nice, well-deserved rest as number 40, Jason Bays, comes back in for him. And he gets a rebound, and Scott misses both those free throws. Wildcats remain up by 4, 53-49. Craig Alexander. No good. Oh, what did I say, folks? I apologize, Shelby Tiger fans. Good, obviously, 53-51.
Nice roll.
I thought sure that was going over the backside of the rim, Jeff.
Well, that's exactly what it looked like, but it came right back.
Wildcats now with a 2-point lead. Trying to take some time off, but also they need to look for that good shot. Nice move that time, assist to Anglin.
Nice read by Ryan Anglin.
Very nice.
We saw Cotter open, got him, and Matt went in there. Nice steal by Scott Lindquist.
Scott deflected.
And then a carry. Yep, we had a carry.
Carry by Anglin. Scott deflected from the backside right to Anglin. Ryan couldn't keep the flow of action going as he turned it over.
And again, I hate to keep reiterating this, but when we get ahead, we seem to make the turnovers at critical times, and we just can't afford to do that.
Well, Shelby Tigers are taking a timeout with 4:20 remaining in the contest. 55-51 is the score. Sullivan, we mentioned, fouled out of the contest. He averages 6 points a game, 5 rebounds a game, 4 assists a game. That's an important thing to have sitting on the bench if you're a Wildcat fan.
Well, and he also plays a very smart floor ball game from what I could see out here tonight. And so when you take that off, you put somebody just hasn't got that amount of quality playing time and leadership, and that certainly is going to help the Wildcats. Although, as I said, I've just been very impressed as Rick Zulig's brought people off the bench, and they've just performed right up there at the same level as the starters.
Absolutely. A really nice luxury to have if you're a coach. Action ready to resume now. Inbounds it goes to Jason Bays. Keith Zulik. Zulik's come off the bench and done a nice job tonight too, Jeff. 4 points and 5 assists per game for him. Grants with a nice baseline move against Schloff. Cotter with the rebound off the missed shot. Cotter ahead to Schneider. Schneider with the foul being called as he tried to drive that baseline. Justin Grants, his second, There I did it again,
Remember,
Jeff.
Larry, that's my job.
I'm sorry. I apologize to you, too. What can I say? I'd like to thank our cameraman, Van Lawrence, tonight for the excellent job he's done following all that exciting action on the floor. 3:55 remaining. Lindquist driving left. Grants with the foul as Lindquist saw a little opening there and made a nice drive. Nice decision by Scott that time.
Well, that's exactly what that whole offense, that high stack offense is supposed to do. You run it off, you rub your man off, nothing's open, if somebody switches off on you got a man popping high and you just run it to the other side. And with that, Scott drops one in, gives the Wildcats a 5-point lead. But in that case, nobody came over to get Scott, and he just took it to the hole and drew the foul. That's exactly what we want to do.
That's exactly right. And those 2 free throws give us our biggest lead in the contest, 6 points, 57-51. 3:48 remaining in the game. Nice play by Doug Schlaff that time. Beautiful anticipation by Doug Schlaff. Created that turnover by Jason Kennedy.
Well, the Wildcats here, just take some time off, be smart about it. Excellent.
Schlaff to the inside. No good. Lindquist couldn't quite control the rebound, and Schlaff is going to give it up along the baseline as he touched it while he was standing on the line. Heikoop back in for Shelby. They need his offensive capacity as well as his beef right now, Jeff.
Right. And the Wildcats had an excellent opportunity to put 2 more in there, just couldn't get it to drop.
Up by 6 they are with 3:25 remaining. Jason Kennedy, good! Makes it up by 4, 57-53 Wildcats. Lindquist from Webb. Lindquist back out to Cotter.
Nice ball movement.
Nice ball movement that time. The Shelby Tigers need to get the possession quickly here. Schlaff, good from 15 feet. 59-53, 6-point difference for the Wildcats. 2:57 remaining. Folks, you can't ask for better action than this. Holy cow, isn't that something somebody else says, Jeff?
I think some of our neighbors there in Chicago.
I think you're right. I didn't even check with him. No basket. Offensive foul. Foul on number 22, Jason Kennedy. Important.
You know, Rick Zulik doesn't like that call, but that's kind of reminiscent of an Eric Webb drive up at Shelby.
It really is. It really is. Only difference was...
And Rick's arguing that Doug got there late. Not that he didn't get, he wasn't there, but that he got there late.
Right. And Schneider, nice pass underneath to Cotter. Over the top it rolls. Justin Grants with the ball. 2:32 remaining. 59-53, 6-point lead. Steal for the Wildcats. Deflected by Lindquist, picked up by Schneider. 2:22 remaining. Schlaff calling for timeout right in front of the Wildcat bench. Jeff, what do you think? Do you think we'll see that 4 corner?
I got a feeling we're going to see it spread offense, take some time off. You get a layup, go ahead, take it to the hole, but probably doesn't want anything more than that. And we've done that pretty well so far this year. I'm sure Coach State is saying, come on guys, you got 2 minutes, 19 seconds, and you guys can do it. Coach Zulik is going to tell them anytime the ball goes in a corner, we're going to double it, we're going to trap, and we're going to go after the ball. If we foul, we certainly don't want to make it look like it's a intentional foul, because in that case, the Wildcats will get 2 shots plus get the ball back at the point of the foul.
Exactly right. Jeff, looking back to seasons past, many seasons past now, I remember Coach Tate coaching for these same Shelby Tigers.
And so do I, Larry, sitting on the other bench.
Right. But he used that 4-quarter offense very effectively against us.
Yes, he did use it against me.
Well, I didn't say that, Jeff. Those were your words. But he uses it very well. Most of the time, it's very effective for the Wildcats. Schlaff! Good for Schlaff! 61-53, 8-point difference.
I think the crowd says it all.
I think so. Foul is going to be called on the shot as Alexander went up from the outside. I think on Lindquist. No, it's Mark Schneider. That's 4 on Mark Schneider. Craig Alexander will be at the line. But I can hardly hear myself think. I don't know if we're getting across the airwaves or not here, Jeff. One more attempt. Get 2 shots here.
Well, everybody's in this ball game. The guys are rebounding everything right now. I think, Larry, as we mentioned in the first half, I think we just keep on bringing charges in and out, and that much fresher than the Tigers are. And they're an excellent fit team. I'll tell you, they can play with the best of them.
61-54 now as Eric Webb is fouled on the inbounds pass.
And there's exactly what we said. The ball went to the corner. We're going to double it. If we get the foul, we got to make sure it's not as if we intentionally did it.
And now we're at the free throw line for the first time in the bonus situation during this half with 2:04 remaining, 61-54. Now, Jeff, if you're a Wildcat fan, you're pretty excited now with the 7-point lead with only a little over 2 minutes left. But we can't become too confident yet. Those 7 points could evaporate. It takes 3 possessions minimum now. 8 points now, but still 3 possessions minimum. But there's still a lot of time if you're a Shelby Tiger.
Well, there's a lot of time. And they come down and they do what they have to do and they convert and we don't. And then a 2.
Zulik trying that 3-pointer from the outside, rebounded by Schlapp. Webb ahead to Lindquist. To Cotter. Back out to Lindquist. Lindquist, I think we're going to have a foul called. Zulik not real happy with the call. Lindquist will be at the line shooting 1 in bonus, 62-54, an 8-point difference. We're under 2 minutes. Minute and 43 remaining.
Well, again, the ball went to the side and we had it trapped, and that's exactly what Shelby's going to do. I'm impressed with Shelby's quickness still. You know, they're right on top of that ball all the time, getting 2 men on the ball, and that's exactly what Coach Zulik's saying. You got to keep on doing that, guys.
And Coach Zulik told us ahead of the game that he had 2 of the quickest guards in the league. We've seen that tonight. Both of them like to penetrate, he said. Power forward penetrates well. You know, we're all excited about this game too, Jeff. I want to just make a comment, which is maybe a little unusual at this point in time, with all the excitement and the intensity of the action. We want to win this game, but it's not all that important in the life role. Who wins? We've had a good game tonight.
Well,
and we have seen lots of other nice things on the court besides who wins and loses. Good teamwork, good sportsmanship, good results. Either way.
Well, you know, both these teams, win or lose, you know, I'm just impressed with how they've handled themselves on the floor. I'm impressed with their play. I'm impressed with the coaching on both sides. I've always been a big fan of Coach Zulik, and he just continues to do just a marvelous job for Shelby, and his players are doing excellent. And again, you know, I can't say enough about Coach Tate and the Wildcats. They've just done super as well.
Lindquist makes the first, can't get the second to drop. Remains a 9-point difference with 1:36 to go. Alexander over to Zulik. Alexander inside the 3-point line. Lindquist with the rebound. Fouled by Alexander. He's got to go back to the charity stripe with 1:28 remaining in the game.
Well, Scotty's had a little trouble at the line tonight, but you know, he's got to just keep on putting them up and forget it. He's too good a shooter to think about that. And just go up there. They got a 9-point lead. This is an excellent opportunity for him to just drop them through.
You know what he'd say to you, Jeff?
I know.
For you to say.
Well, it is easy for me to say. I'm setting up here.
That's right. At any rate, he must have heard you because he put that one through the nets. And another one through the net.
Just like I told him.
Yes, sir. Thanks, Jeff. I'll say thanks for Scott. 3-point range. Over the top. And Webb takes the rebound down as Justin Yance missed the play. Double dribble is the call against Eric Webb. Zulik made the right call that time, too.
Yeah.
Keith Zulik knew that was a double dribble, and so did the official. Craig Alexander guarded by Lindquist. 65-54 is the score. 1:15 remaining. 65-56 is the score with 1:10 remaining.
Just have to be smart.
Alexander.
That's his fourth, so he's going to be in trouble on the next one. He's got to get some help in the fouling department.
Eric Webb going to the line. I think this is Eric's first trip to the line tonight. He's a 70% shooter on the season, approximately.
The thing that the Wildcats have to be reminded is they don't need any more points. I mean, when they're on the foul line, certainly they've got to put the ball up and in, but they don't need any more points. They got to get the ball up quickly but safely. Can't turn the ball over. Right, and then get it up here and just move the ball. Don't let it set because they're going to get double teamed, and that's when you're going to get the turnovers if there's going to be any.
Eric Webb with a second, makes it good. And you know what? Late in the contest at Shelby, Eric Webb stepped to the line and made a 1 and bonus that kept us in the contest at that time.
That's right.
Alexander got it by Lindquist, looking for the outside shot. Zulik will have it instead. Up, good from three-point land. Makes it an 8-point difference. 59-67, 8-point lead for the Wildcats. 50 seconds exactly remaining. 50 seconds. And now Connor will go to the line, followed by Hycoop. Hycoop they're stopping the clock, gets his third personal. Tigers have little choice at this point, Jeff, trailing by 8 with 47 seconds left.
They have to put people at the line. It just so happens that the Wildcats, and I certainly hope I don't put a jinx on anybody, but the Wildcats have been, under Coach Tate, an excellent foul shooting team. And that certainly pulled out some close ball games for them.
Sure has. On the season as a club, they're shooting 72% from the line, opposed to about 58% for all the rest of the teams they've played. So that's an important difference too. Two more makes it a 10-point contest. 46 seconds remaining. Now the Wildcats have to play smart here. We've got to play good, tough defense, but no unnecessary fouls.
That's just it. They don't want to foul.
Steal for the Wildcats. Webb deflected it, picked up by Connor, and fouled by Hycoop. Hycoop, I think, will get the 1 and bonus called against him as Connor will go back to the line.
And he's gone with that foul. That's number 5. I think
timeout Wildcat.
I think with that I saw from the Shelby bench, Coach Rick Zulik doesn't want him on foul. He's seen in 29 seconds. They're down 10. They're probably not going to be able to get that. So, you know, if they could have stole that ball, got a bucket here and stole it again, being down 6, that might be something different. But 10 with a chance to go to 12, it's going to be tough.
Well, we had an excellent crowd at tonight's contest, Jeff, and we'd like to thank all the people that come out and support the Wildcats continuously as we watch the Wildcat Spirit flag making its journey across the floor one more time by T.P. Johnson. Nice to see that flag go across the floor.
It certainly is. You know, we talked about spurts, and of course here in the fourth quarter, that's exactly what happened. The Wildcats went on a spurt, and the Tigers couldn't stay with them, and that's cost them the ball game.
Well, Jeff, you know, the Wildcats have scored 23 points this quarter, and that's quite a spurt compared to 13 for their opponents.
I guess I got that wrong, Larry. I call one on the fouls wrong now. With that, Hycoop fouls out.
Right.
That was only his 4th in the previous one. And again, I think a key, you know, after a fairly good first quarter, Mr. Hycoop really didn't do much this second half, and I think it's a big key in just how successful we've been in this ballgame.
Right. Jason Bay is coming in, taking Hycoop's place on the baseline free throw position. Anglam, good from the foul line. Makes it 11 points.
And we're going to probably be very close to our average, Larry, offensively.
Well, indeed, you're right. 71-59. Jason Kennedy cross to Alexander, but Lindquist picks up the foul, trying for the steal. Alexander will go to the line with a chance to cut it to a 10-point difference with 16 seconds remaining, 71-59.
You know, getting a little ahead of ourselves here, Larry. Can you imagine what the district tournament's going to be like here come a couple weeks?
That's right.
You're going to have some excellent ball teams here. And you're seeing 2 of them right here tonight. And
absolutely correct.
I certainly don't want to get ahead of ourselves in terms of conference and the regular season, but
Eric Webb inside to Anglam, up at the buzzer. Almost, no good. Link to the court it goes. And that's the ball game. Now we can hear the fat lady sing. 71-59, she says, is the final tune. Wildcats over the Tigers by 12 points. 12-point difference there, but it wasn't a 12-point game.
no, it certainly wasn't. Again, the fourth quarter spelled the difference as the Cats just come out and really dominated play, shut the Tigers right down, and capitalize on things they hadn't been capitalizing on early. And again, the difference is the 12-point victory and sole possession of first place.
Could well have decided the West Michigan Conference Championship. As we mentioned, Shelby still has to play the Vikings and the Eagles. But I'd like to also comment the Wildcats, as you say, travel to North Muskegon, but also finish the season up at Scottville, a pesky team. Last time I saw the record, Jeff, they were 7-7, 500, but they gave us all we wanted when they played us on our own court.
Well, the Spartans, they come out to play every night. When they were down here, they just gave us one whale of a ball game. It was close, like this one, most of the way until the Wildcats again stuffed it away in the fourth quarter. But you know, it's again going up there, they're going to be that much tougher. And I just look for a good ball game. And don't count North Muskegon out.
That's right.
North Muskegon actually, you know, I think undermanned, but I'll tell you what, those kids, very impressive and a lot of heart and a lot of hustle out there.
Well, their record isn't very impressive. I think they've only won 1 or 2 contests for the season, but they've dropped some close contests as well. So the record there is not necessarily indicative of the way they've played some of their games. Wildcats moved to 16-1 overall, 11-1 in the league. The Shelby Tigers will drop to 12-4, 9-2 in the league. Disappointing loss for the Shelby Tigers, of course, but they've had an excellent season. A fine group of young men on the court for the Tigers, and they need to hold their heads up high, even though it's more difficult to do that after a disappointing loss like this.
Well, disappointing, Larry, but again, as you said, they played very well. Just down the stretch, ran into some trouble, but you know, one of those two teams is going to do it. It was the Wildcats last time, and this time it happened to be the Tigers. But they're a team to be reckoned with, and they've had a solid season. And again, come district tournament time, it's a whole new ball game. And that's not to say, you know, that their season's over with. The Wildcats, as we said, have to get through 2 more, and if they falter, it gives the Tigers an excellent chance to come back in it.
And you know what? The Tigers would not like nothing better, I'm sure, than to meet the Wildcats again right here on this floor in that district tournament action. The drawing was held today, and I'm sorry I don't have, folks, the results of the drawing. Maybe we can get that and give it to you before we close if we have an interview. But the tournament has a lot of exciting action, I'm sure, regardless of the draw. Shelby is here, Scottville's here, Whitehall's here, Montague, Hesperia, Hart. All of them have potential to do a good job in that district tournament. When you get to that time, March Madness says we have a whole new season.
Well, unlike the regular season where you have a lot of champions because you have a lot of conference play and those type things, in state tournament you have, by the state's way of thinking, at least you have one winner. There are a lot of winners, but in their format of play, there's only one that comes out at the end that is still going to be left unblemished. Right. And you know, and that's exactly what it is at that stage. You must go through that second part of your schedule undefeated. Right. One bad night and it's all over. It doesn't matter how good you are.
Right.
So again, it's always fun at that time, but the regular season is really special too because you have a lot of different champions in a lot of different leagues.
Well, Jeff, I'd like to just mention one more time that district tournament starts March 4th right here with single games, the 4th, the 5th, the 6th, and the 7th of March. And also I'd like to just take a minute to talk about the girls volleyball team. The girls volleyball team is having their best season in many years with I believe they've only been defeated twice in conference action, and they also will be entering tournament play March 2nd. The district volleyball tournaments will also be hosted right here at Montague High School. So we have excellent athletic competitions coming up locally in both volleyball and basketball.
And I think that's really neat for our people here in the White Lake area because they've supported our program so very, very well, and you know, it's kind of a nice treat for them that we don't have to travel somewhere. We've got it right here in our own home.
Right. Well, fans, I think that'll just about do it from the booth. We'll wrap it up here tonight. Remember the final score, Montague 71, Shelby 59. We're going to go down on court and see if we can coax somebody to come out and talk to us. But if not, we thank you for joining us. Thanks once again to C-Tech Cable TV for access to the airwaves.
Welcome back to Montague High School on the floor where Montague just defeated the Shelby Tigers by 12 points, 71-59. Now you're used to us coming down to after-game, post-game interviews, that is, but you're not used to seeing other than players or coaches here. But as you notice, obviously, standing to my left are not players or coaches right at the moment, although I'm sure they felt that they were involved in the game from the opening whistle to the sound of the final buzzer. But we see next to me Clarence and Mary Jane Streblow, longtime Montague residents, but it's also appropriate that we have Clarence and Mary Jane with us tonight because, Clarence, I understand you graduated from Shelby too.
Right. I sure did.
You did. Well, how can you handle a game like this, Clarence, when you have both Shelby and Montague on the floor?
I could handle a game, but Mary Jane couldn't handle it. She was giving me, every time Shelby'd make a good play, I'd say, look at that, and she'd say, yeah, go ahead, cheer for Shelby, see if I care. You know, that's the way
Mary Jane, would you do something like that?
No.
you don't really know her very
Not
well.
unless I was alone or with somebody.
Okay.
It's been strictly Montague, though. You know, we've followed Montague for so many years. I probably haven't had too much to do with Shelby for 45 years. You know, after I graduated, I went into service, and after that, I come down here and got hooked up with her and made a permanent resident of me down here.
Not such a bad deal, right?
Well, I don't know. There's been times when I'd like to send her back to Montague and said I'll go to Shelby, but you know, all in all, it's been a pretty good deal.
Okay. Well, on the other hand, Mary Jane, you were a Montague graduate, so I'm sure you're real proud of the results of this game tonight, as is your husband.
You bet I am. I've lived here. I was born and raised here in Montague, and there were 9 girls in our family, and of 9 girls, 8 of us graduated from this school. I'd hate to count the descendants that have graduated from this school because there's a ton of them.
Okay.
It goes way back.
Well, I know that you're longtime Wildcat admirers. I've only been here 14 years, but I've seen you at many, 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 many athletic contests during that 14-year span. And you're going to be here a few more years, aren't you?
Oh, you better believe. You better believe. Clarence wants to go to Alabama next year when I retire, but I said, that's going to be an awful long drive twice a week to the basketball games.
We can't have that. We can't have that. Well, folks, just so you'll know, we're here to talk a little bit about some special things that the Clarence Streblow family has done for Montague High School. Number one, they've served our district well in official capacities over the years. I recall very well, obviously, that Clarence was on the school board when I came to employment in this district. But your school board contacts and the family go way back, don't they, Mary Jane?
Yes, they do. My dad was on for 12 years and was president of the board most of that time. So I was raised with officialdom in school, I guess you'd say.
Can you think of anything special that happened during those 12 years on the school board? Any events in the history of Montague High School or maybe the middle school even that happened during the time that your father was on the school board?
Yes, Dad was on the board when they did a lot of study and decided that they went to a lot of different places, and they decided that the grade school and the junior high and the high school should be separated. So Dad was instrumental in that. He worked real hard on the Memorial football field, and Dad was a very good Montague booster. It was his town and his kids, and he meant the whole school body could do nothing wrong.
Okay, and Clarence, how about your activities with the school board? I mentioned that you were on when I came, but you're not on now. How long did you serve?
I was only on for 4 years, but in that 4 years, after a little work and stuff, we did finish the library, expand the library, and at the same time we built our track. Montague had never had a track, or they had a track team. I'd remember when I was in school running against them that they never really could compete because they didn't have a track. There was one kid down here that was real good, Dale Rager. He was a half-miler, but I could beat him most of the time. But when we got down to the state meet, why, he beat me. But the Streblow family up to Shelby had lots of track records set in there. The fact is, I think the last one was broke maybe 3-4 years ago. But these tracks today, they're altogether different. They're not the old cinder tracks. And I would think you probably could take 0.2 of a second off a race, without too much problem. But Yeah, and then in fact is Mr. Richland was here at the time for superintendent, and we did a lot of, I should say horse trading, I guess. If they were going to have a library that they were proud of, which we had lots of books and all of that added to it, why at the same time I said we were going to have a track, and we did get both of them, which we had to borrow money to do it, and it was always tough on finances, and I guess it still is today, really. So
that really hasn't changed all that much, and that may be unfortunate, but that's the situation we're in. The finances in the entire state aren't really terrific these days, of course. Well, Mary Jane, you mentioned a lot of things your father was involved in during the building of this school and NBC and some other things too. And one of the main reasons we have you on the air tonight with us, of course, is something that's happened in the recent past in memory of your father. Could you comment about that for us?
Yes, we had wanted to do something in Dad's memory for the school because the school meant so much to him. So last year we were over to Whitehall, one of the gymnasiums, and they had some fans, and I said, aha, that's what we need. So we decided and finally got it through, and the 4 fans to cool us off here while we get so excited over the game.
Exactly right. And tonight was a good example of the importance of right here. Now during this interview we can feel the effects of the fans. 4 fans installed on the ceiling of Montague High School, and we thank you very much for that effort on behalf of our fans, our community, our players, and everybody at Montague. That's a very nice gesture, and I'm sure that your father, were he alive today, would be very proud of the fact that he has a lasting memorial here at Montague High School.
I think so. And we love these kids in Montague High School. Don't tell me there's bad kids. There may be someplace. But the kids in Montague have given us 4 and 5 years of darn good basketball and enjoyment. They're a great bunch of kids.
Well, you're absolutely correct. We could hardly ask for anything better than that. And, you know, win or lose, they're good kids. We've been very fortunate with our record over the last 4 or 5 years, like you say, but regardless of the result of the contests themselves, we have good kids. Clarence, have you had good kids in the past as well at Montague, do you think?
Oh, I can't ever remember any time when the kids weren't good, you know. All you do is you don't have no bad kids, you just got more of them. These couples asked us one night, how come you come to all the basketball games, you know, who do you know? And we said, well, the basketball team. You know, that's the way it is. We cheer for the basketball team. Though I do have some grandkids coming up. I don't know if they'll ever get into the basketball field or not, but they're trying. And so we hope someday that we'll have some more Strebels playing.
Sure, and those fans will continue to benefit not only you as the fan watching your grandson, but the kids as well. I wonder if this is a rather unusual request, I recognize, but could we get you to just turn around, because I want to see the back of your t-shirt there. Commitment, teamwork, and excellence. And I think this has certainly been a fine example of commitment on the part of, thank you, you go ahead and face the folks again. Fine example of, oh no, fine example of commitment on the part of 2 Wildcat loyal fans and good supporters of our school district. Not just you two, but of course history of both families' involvement in school as well. So I thank you very much on behalf of the school board and Montague High School and all the people of Montague for your contribution to our community. Good luck to you in the future, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you very much. We just get you over here, and maybe now we can get the next group to come on in here. Montague High School players, who do we have tonight here, Jeff?
Well, it looks like we have the seniors here tonight.
I think we have the seniors.
And they're all taller than me.
Yeah, right. I don't know how we're going to do this, guys. How about cameraman back there? Can you get us all in? Oh, it's just because you're so good on the camera, right? Okay, he says we're all set to go. Well, obviously we do have exactly that. The Montague High School varsity seniors, Doug Schlaff, Mark Schneider, Matt Cotter, Ryan Anglem, and Eric Webb peeking out from down at the end. First of all, guys, thank you very much for an exciting game, and congratulations for a victory that puts you in the command seat of the West Michigan Conference. 16-1 overall isn't too bad. 11-1 in the conference is tremendous as well. What did you think about tonight's game? I'll ask you because you're closest to me, Doug. It's not fair to give you the first question. I should ask Ryan or somebody, but I'll pick on you first. Tonight's game obviously was a very important one. and you came into the contest virtually tied for first place. The first half was relatively close all the way, although Shelby took the lead early, of course. What were you thinking when they got out to not a comfortable lead, but they were ahead most of the first half? What kind of thoughts went through your mind?
Well, we knew we had to come out and play better defense. In the first half, the guy that took the ball out of bounds, we played really tight up on him. And in the second half, we slacked off, and we cut off Craig Alexander from bringing the ball up the court. We double-teamed him, and that slowed down their transition game.
Okay.
Along those same lines, anybody can answer this, but along those same lines, can you give us an idea of what Coach Tate said at halftime? You know, again, you stayed right with him the first half, but you really weren't clicking on all 5 cylinders or 4 cylinders or whatever. It was just a matter of staying right there. We had some shots, but we just weren't dropping. Eric or Ryan?
Go ahead.
Okay, I'll field this one. This is easy. He just told us that we were playing well, but we needed to put our shots in the basket. We were getting great shots, they just weren't falling. Our percentage probably wasn't stellar tonight, but we ended up doing the job. We just had to stick the shots in the basket and play better defense all around.
He also told us to use the glass more on the inside bank shots, shoot a bank shot and a better percentage going in, and just pick up the tempo a little bit, play a little better defense, and the defense will turn around and the offense will come.
We talked about up in the press box that one team was going to spurt, and that it was it was going to be a close game, and right at the end, one of the other team was going to take a leap forward, and that was you guys. Do you think your press had a lot to do with that at the end? You constantly rotate, and this has been a trend for now the last 4 years that Coach Tate's been here, just rotating people in and out. In fact, I said to Mr. Lindquist that it appears sometimes you don't even hardly sit down and you're back in the ball game. Do you think that warmed down a little bit at the end as well? Eric?
Yeah, I did. Our press was good tonight. We kept it tight, I guess.
Okay, well, you had a lot of turnovers. That press was effective, and you had good defensive position most of the time, and had good deflections, etc. Let me ask Mark a question here, if I could. You ready for this, Mark? Okay, Mark. We commented before about being the sixth man coming off the bench, and tonight you did that same thing again, of course. And you didn't score many points tonight, but we commented about the excellent season you've had, and tonight. How did it feel coming into a game that was close, exciting, and meant so much to a repeat for the 4th time in a row for a conference championship, or it could very well be?
Well, as a sixth man, I'm really not made to score. I'm in there to make a defensive stop, wherever it may be. And I think I did that as well as the guys. And I flow with the guys just as well as the 5th man does. So I think we're pretty good wherever we go.
You work well as a team, no matter who's on the court. You're absolutely correct. Doug, I want to get back to you for a second here. You had a little bad luck, shall we say, in the first quarter, early in the game. I think you might have not canned your first 3 shots, but I think you ended up with 27 points or something like that. Did that at all worry you? We said you keep on shooting because you're a good shot and that you'd just make them fall eventually. What did you think when you missed the first 2 or 3 shots?
I think it was 4.
Okay, well, I'm trying to be nice.
When we had a timeout early in the first quarter, Mr. Tate and my dad told me that I have to start using the glass because that gives you a softer shot, and I was trying to shoot it straight in, and I think when we started using the glass more, that's when we started picking up, and we closed the gap until halftime.
Man,
Okay.
This is a question I think we've asked the seniors every year. Here we are again. We're down towards the end of the season, and although you haven't put the championship away, you got two ball games left in the conference. What does it mean to be on top, and what does it mean to the program? What does it mean to the seniors as you've come through the season now? And you've been here, and you've been here through the full 4 years that Coach Tate's been here.
Oh yeah, gee. It's a position we're used to. Every year that I've played, we've always come out on top, and we've been fortunate enough to do that. And we haven't won anything yet. We're a long way from it. We've got to play in North Muskegon, which is never an easy place to play, and then we've got to play in Mason County against an excellent Mason County team. So we haven't won anything yet, but we talked about our goals at the beginning of the season, and one of our goals was to be in a position to win the championship at the end of the year. And we've been lucky enough to do that. We've beaten some good teams. We beat Whitehall twice. We played a good half here, and we came out on top. And it's just a position that we're happy to be in. We like being in the driver's seat, a whole lot more than being in the passenger seat.
Mike, I want to ask you a question as long as I'm over here by you, too. Let's not take anything away from Shelby. They came to play tonight. Obviously, they could have knocked off a triple repeat conference champion. What did you think about their play? How did they seem to attack on the floor, and how do you think their spirit was?
Again, they were ready for us, I believe. They're a good team. They come out and they run, and that's what we do. We run, they ran with us. And eventually, we tired them down, but they stuck with it, and they kept the game close, and give them a lot of credit. They're a good team.
Okay, Ryan, we haven't seen a lot of the stats yet tonight, but one of the important stats that we always take a look at, of course, is rebounds. And you, and as well as the other, at least the big kids in the lineup, got a lot of rebounds tonight. We noticed, however, early that there wasn't a lot of offensive rebounding on the part of the Wildcats, and that kind of hurt us. Did Coach Tate make any comments about how to improve offensive rebounding, or what turned it around for you in the area of rebounding?
He didn't really say a whole lot about how to improve our rebounding. He said to make our shot selection a little better and use the glass around the inside and make sure we rebound on the weak side, because a lot of the rebounds will come off that way. But like he said, if we don't shoot more inside and shoot better, then the rebounds just won't be there, and we have to get that second and third shot to stay in the game.
Well, we commented that early in the game we were getting one shot at the basket, and Shelby was doing a good job of boxing out and also doing a good job of getting second and third opportunities on their own on the offensive end, which really catapulted them into the lead early on, as both teams really went after each other defensively, I thought, very well.
Okay, well, gentlemen, we thank you for spending some time with us here tonight. We appreciate you taking a time out from the locker room and a shower to come on. Best of luck to you as you conclude the senior season,
Jerry.
hopefully as champions of the West Michigan Conference once again.
Matt.
Good job.
Good luck to you guys.
Good job. Yeah. Well, there we have it. The Wildcats emerged victorious. We're going to try and see if we can get a few words from Coach Tate here as he finishes his interview with the Beacon and strolls into the picture here.
Just one more interview, Coach. That's all.
Yeah, just one more. I noticed that the tie is down a little loosened and the collar is open. To Jim, how was this game in your mind in terms of your own excitement and intensity and nervousness, etc.? Was it different than any other? Obviously, you were the coach of the Shelby Tigers for years. You're tied for the conference lead at the time. This could mean the championship. What were your thoughts?
Well, it's we try and approach and practice in our preparation, that every game's the same, and we try and prepare the same. But I don't mind telling you, I made sure I taught the whole hour, all 5 hours today of my classes, because 7th hour, when it was my planning period, I couldn't sit still. I went to the bathroom about 4 times today. I've been in championship games before, and you just never get over the feeling. I told my wife, win or lose, I'm not going to sleep tonight. Or it's going to be 4:30 or 5 o'clock this morning. It was and the game was everything that I thought it would be. Shelby played a terrific game. They, made, especially in the first half, they really came at us. Craig Alexander had a great game. Grant's hit a lot of big shots in the first half, and we made a couple of adjustments in the second half. But this game wasn't X's and O's. This game was our kids just refusing to lose, refusing to fold up. It got down to the last 4 minutes. Our kids made big plays when they had to, and nobody lost the game. I told our kids after the game, I really think we won the game, and that's the way a big game in anybody's conference ought to be. But I'm as proud as I can be of these kids. We had our back to the wall the other night at Oak Ridge with 2:45 to go, and made 3 or 4 huge plays down the stretch to win. We dodged a bullet at Ravenna with some big plays down the end. We beat Whitehall, when it came down to the last few seconds. Roger Finland's always fond of saying that athletics, instead of exhibiting character, reveals characters. But I'm real proud of the character that our kids have, and the heart that they showed when they played, and it was a team effort. We had kids coming through all over the place, and that's the best feeling. It's not one big stud that carries you. It's 7 or 8 kids that are all chipping in every day and making contributions, and it's something that when these guys are 55 and 60, they'll never forget, and I won't either.
Jim, if you mentioned the Ravenna game and how we came through in the clutch at the end, and that came after a real big game where we really were up for Whitehall, and then we had Ravenna down there, and we're flat.
Yep.
Now you're going to run into the same situation. We had a real big game here. You've got, perceivably on paper anyways, a game that really doesn't look like much of a match. And the kids can't afford to have that letdown. What are you going to do this week, or what do you perceive you're going to do this week, if anything different, to try to overcome that?
Well, the one thing I'm going to appeal to them, and every time, the best thing about this team is every time I've ever challenged them or told them that we need to do something, they would die trying to do it. We're going to try and make sure that we're really ready to play on Friday night, physically, mentally, emotionally, and every other way, because we took a giant step towards winning the championship tonight, and we want to play like champions. We want to represent the West Michigan Conference well. We want to represent ourselves well, and to be honest with you, we don't want to share this thing with anybody. I don't want to lose and have somebody, kind of back in and share it with us. We want to win it, and our kids want to win it, and I don't think there's going to be any letdown Friday night.
Coach Tate, I'd like you to just reflect back a minute. You mentioned the fact that it wasn't any one single person that won the game or lost it, if you look at it from the Shelby standpoint. Both teams played well off the bench. One of the things that Coach Zulik told us ahead of time was that Schlaff and Grants were the keys to the game in his judgment, at least one of the big keys, and that was to, from his point of view, keep Schlaff off the boards and off the charity stripe. Grants had a big game for them. Schlaff had a big game for us. How would you look at that matchup during tonight's game?
Well, I think Grants got off the mark real well in the first half, but I think it was Craig Alexander that did all of that. He was getting the ball inbounds on the run on us and running up the floor, and then our post players had to come and pick him up, and then Grants was wide open behind him, and he's an excellent jump shooter. He's an incredible jump shooter for a kid 6'5". And in the second half, all we did was take our guard off the person that was out of bounds, played him a little bit softer, and then tried to double team Alexander right away. Just left whoever we had and went and doubled him right away to make him give the ball up. And when Alexander wasn't running down the floor, I don't know if you noticed it on the tape, but Grants wasn't much of a factor in their offense. We can defend them in their half-court offense, but when we have to come off of him to help out on somebody else, he's going to be open, and that's a deadly combination. I thought the key to the game with us going in was Craig Alexander. He's awfully quick. He's difficult for us to defend. He's a good scorer, and he has played great against us for 2 years. And I knew that if he got loose and started running up and down the floor and making passes and scoring, that it was going to be a good offensive night for them, and we knew we had to win it at the defensive end. So I think the fact that we softened up on the press, at least the guy guarding the man out of bounds in the second half, I think that was critical in slowing their offense down. I do want to mention one play that was huge in the game, though. We had a 2-point lead. Scott Lindquist had the ball in the baseline at the 3-point area, and Ray and I at the same time yelled at him, "Do it!" and it was already in the air. He was doing it, so, and that one went in the basket, and that was a huge basket. And I know they came back after that and got it back within one, but what a confidence builder it was for our kids. And then right out of the timeout, they had to come out and pressure us a little bit later, and we threw it into Doug, who got the dunk, and you might as well have ended it right there, because our kids were not going to lose after that play.
I would say another thing, and this has been a trademark of your ball teams when you were up at Shelby or since you've been down here, is you put us at the line, you're probably going to be in a lot of trouble. And down the stretch, again, a couple times early we had trouble there, but boy, down the stretch we were right there. Is there anything you do differently with free throws that makes your teams be excellent free throw shooters?
Well, our kids shoot a minimum of 50 every day, and we do something a little bit different at practice. We have 6 glass backboards in our gym, and the kids shoot at all 6. We rotate. They shoot 4 free throws at every basket and shoot 5 at their last one. And I've always done that because it's a little bit different feel. You know, you got rims that are tilted, you got rims that are hard, you got backgrounds that are different. and I think it really helps our free throw shooting. But this is the best free throw shooting team I've ever coached. We're shooting about 72% as a team. We've got about 5 guys over 80%, and I was checking Eric Webb's stats. He's a little under 70%, but in the last 10 games in the fourth quarter, he's about 90%. And I'll tell you, I'll live and die with Eric Webb at the line. He's such a competitor, and he's done more unbelievable things for our basketball program in the 3 years he's played here. If he misses them, he misses them, but I'm going to go down with Eric, I'll tell you.
Well, Eric had some big... Go ahead.
I think there's a lot of players you go down with in this crew. I'll tell you, they just keep on. You keep on pulling them off the bench, and they just keep on coming out and performing, and it's just amazing. Every game they get better and better, and that's certainly a tribute to you and to those kids.
I think
and to
more
your coaching staff, Ray Schloff, of course. And
I think more to the kids than anything else, because my grandmother always told me that you could lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. And I can't make kids do the things that they do. That comes from within them. It comes from good parents. It comes from a good school environment. It comes from a lot of pride that they have in what we've accomplished over the last 3 years. And basketball to me is not a coach's game. Football is a coach's game. This is a player's game. And if you get players and you get them in the right position and you let them play and they're willing to play together, you can do some great things.
Jim, I'd like to just have you comment on one final thing here before we sign off for tonight. That's the defense. We talked about the three-pointer by Scott Lindquist, and that everybody had a big game offensively too when it counted on the free throw line or whatever. But defense is a really important part of your game, and tonight was no exception to that. You had lots of defensive steals or deflections, etc. That doesn't show up in the paper tomorrow morning. We didn't hear about that on the radio. We hear the score and maybe the leading scorers, that sort of thing. It doesn't seem to be as glamorous. But how do you psychologically make kids believe that it is?
Well, I think the way we've played the last 3 years, and